Find me down in the meadow, under trees born hollow. Water glows in the shallows with the light we borrow. Clouds cast down the shadow, promise rain tomorrow. River fly like a sparrow through the heart of the meadow.
Hey, everybody. This is Carl. Welcome to Carl's Opinion. And yes, it is early. Yes, on the Western Coast time zones, it is still light out. I know it is crazy, but here we are, Sunday night, Sunday evening, 6:30 my time, 9:30 East Coast time. And thanks for everybody for joining. I didn't give a lot of notice on this. I appreciate it. I didn't give anybody warning either. I was coming on early, so much appreciated to everybody who showed up in the chat here today. And a lot of news to cover. You saw the headline I had there with Joe Biden saying, "I never talked to my son, and get off my lawn." He looks like a little old man, like an I don't know, like angry little old man, like he's angry. And he did get a little angry Saturday when they were asking him questions about his son and his son's business. It's like I guess nobody thought it was a bad thing for him to have his son to have business dealings in the Ukraine in 2014, right when the Russians were invading Crimea, or John Kerry's son, who was Secretary of the State at the time, for his son to be on the same board of directors of this big energy conglomerate in the Ukraine, getting paid for basically sitting around at the board of directors table and doing nothing. They had no prior experience in gas or energy or anything, and they were just put on they were just put on there because of their names and their fathers, like they were expecting something in return. And they got it. That company stopped getting investigated because Biden told, the Ukrainian prime minister, hey, if you, president, I believe, if you don't get rid of this prosecutor who's investigating my son's company and investigating him too, because he was chief legal counsel. So in other words, chief legal in-house counsel, what in-house counsel will do, and it's a very dangerous position to be in because they're generally the scapegoat. They'll the company says, hey, can we do this? Can we do this kind of a contract? Can we work with this government or that government or something to that effect? Is it legal? And then you have to give like a legal opinion. And they put a lot of pressure on these guys in-house counsel. I knew one myself, a friend of mine who had to quit because he said I can't write that up. It's not true. It's not legal. He goes, hey, you work for us, and of course you work for them for a number of years. You don't have your own practice, your own private practice or anything. You really don't have any connections to the outside world because you're in house. And so they fired him, and he was like, phew, this guy with 15 years experience suddenly had no job, no office, and no anything. He didn't have nothing. So they put a lot of pressure on the in-house counsel to do that, unless the in-house counsel is just sleazy, and they don't have to put any pressure on him. Say, hey, give us a legal opinion we can put out there on a prospectus, on a private placement memorandum saying that you looked at it, it's all legal, it's legit. So the prosecutor was investigating the company for corruption, and most likely Hunter Biden would have been part of that, if not all of it. And Biden goes over there, he had a couple $1 billion in aid, say, well, if you don't fire this prosecutor, and he bragged about it. I mean, this wasn't like we had to go find this out. It wasn't like we had to go dig for it or anything. Yeah, his son is a natural gas expert. There you go. We had to go dig for it or anything. He was bragging about it. He was giving some forum a couple of years ago. And he's just talking about, hey, I'm the man, I went over there and, they're investigating. I just told him you got to get rid of this company or I'm taking the money with me. And then he even said Barack knew about it. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm sure he pushes that line pretty hard. I'm sure there'll be some pushback at some point. President Obama will come out and say, "No, man, I didn't know anything about that. When I found out about it, I was really pissed, and I had to call him, and apologize, and all this other shit." So I'm sure there'll be something that goes down, unless he's just gonna, eat it. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, nobody saw anything wrong with that. And of course, the Bidens have, I think Hunter, that might have been Bo, I think it's Hunter, had business dealings in China. That's why Biden brags about doing all these trips to China. Yeah, he took his son with him a couple of times on Air Force Two. You're taking a businessman with you, say, hey, this is my son. Hey, take care of him. You know what I mean? And we'll take care of you. And yeah, we don't care about the growing trade deficit. Just as long as my son makes a few $1 million out of the deal, I'm okay with it. Hey, pro life, good seeing you down there. Good seeing all you guys. Seeing you, GT. Seeing you as well, and disabled vet, and Effie, and a few other people that I'd have to back up to take a look at. But yeah, hey, thanks guys for coming by on such short notice. Do appreciate it. Let's see. I saw somebody back there. Let's see. Oh, I saw Rocky was back there. Vince, hey Vince, Little Rock came on in. Had some guy come in earlier, but I had to get rid of him. He was up to no good. He was up to no good. I could just tell he was up to no good. But anyway, it wasn't going to get any better. So, anyway, this story is interesting. We're going to cover this one right now. And I had a video from the guy from India, the Prime Minister. Let me see if maybe I just want to show that real quick. And it's a live call-in. As you can see, the little flashing thing there. Call now. Lines open. Don't forget, it's ladies' night. Tell your friends. Win free hat. Call now. Lines open. So if you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you out. If you can't if you can't see that little flashing red thing on top, I have no idea. But anyway, but I thought it was kind of funny. So anyway, let me take a look, see this video I got here, see if it's worth playing. Yeah, I think it would be. So yeah, this is the Prime Minister of India down in Houston. I tell you, those people show up. I mean, they said, oh, there's gonna be 50,000 people at that football stadium, and guess what? There were over 50,000 people at that football stadium. I mean, it was packed. I mean, it was like, wow. I've never seen a foreign leader come to this country and get 50,000, of say Polish people, French people, Spanish people, English people. Pick a country. I've never seen it before. This guy says, "Oh, we're going to Houston, and we want to fill it up." And it was like, "Yeah, no problem." And it's like, and they were talking to the one commentator from India, and the MSNBC reporter was kind of skeptical about, well, they're really going to be that many people there, and the guy just looked at her, and you could tell he was a liberal-minded person himself, but he just kind of looked at her like, yeah, there's going to be over 50,000 people there. Trust me, if they say there's going to be 50,000 people in that stadium, there's going to be 50,000 people in that stadium. And sure enough, you see the pictures of it, it was packed. Anyway, the Prime Minister had nothing but great things to say about President Trump. Indian people do very well here in this country. technology. They come over here, they work hard. They're median income, I think the guy was saying, is about 100,000 a year. So I mean, yeah, they do very well over here. They start a lot of businesses and things like that. They're in science, technology, engineering, math studies, the STEM studies, STEM fields. So they do quite well here. And Trump was talking what they wanted to hear: tax cuts, deregulation, stuff like that. It was definitely a positive audience. Although most Indian Americans vote Democrat. I still don't know why. I think it comes down to it's like all their policies and their beliefs are conservative, but I think they're afraid of, they get told by the media, like, we got these scary white guys running around out there, and if you give them power, like, they're going to come after you and, like, burn you out of your house or something. I think that's what they think, because, if you watch, I watch a lot of the mainstream media, and not so you guys don't have to, just so I don't live in a bubble, but I also want to hear what they're saying, and it makes for some fun commentary, let's be honest. But, and if I had to listen to that like 9 hours a day, I'd be scared shitless. One, I think the world was ending in, forget 12 years. I'd be, oh, they're lying to us. It's really like 7. The world's going to end, climate change, 7 years, we're all dead. We're doomed, and then, there's white supremacists behind every rock, just waiting to come at you, and if you give these people power, then, who knows, they'll all come out of the woodwork. It's like, no, they won't, because we generally shoo them along and tell them to get lost, we we don't enable them. We don't try to replicate them. We don't try to I don't know. We just don't look up to them. We think they're losers. These guys are just losers. So and I think if they heard that they have to get off of the MSNBC and CNN, and then realize, oh, most people just they hate those people as much as we do. Yeah, we do. Okay, they're idiots. Okay, a friend of mine used to always say on this other channel, he goes, if you're white supremacist, you must have some kind of mental disorder. And I was a chief moderator, so I was always waiting, for when he said that. He's zapping people off left and right, boom, boom, boom. But I think of these people like Asian Americans, they vote heavy Democrat, totally against their interests, but both socially, culturally, and economically. And same thing with Indian Americans. They vote Democrat and totally against their interests culturally, socially, and economically as well. So, they just, get beaten down every day with the news and TV shows and commercials on TV and movies and of course the news. It's always like, oh my God, it's it's like, oh Jesus, like what country am I living in? It's like, oh my God, all these people are gonna come at me. It's like, look out. White supremacists, but it's not the case. But if you listen to this all day long, you watch movies and again TV shows, and you listen even TV commercials, you just get inundated with this. It's like you think, oh my God. So I don't know how you turn that around for Indian Americans, Asian Americans who again are voting totally against their economic interests, social interests, cultural interests by voting for the Democrat. It makes no sense. But even Jewish Americans, except for Orthodox Jews vote heavy conservative, but liberal and Reformed Jewish people vote Democrat, and drives Ben Shapiro nuts. He's like, I don't. And Ben's always like, why are you voting for the Democrats? He's like, what's wrong with you people? He never gets it. He's like just constantly doesn't understand it because again, it goes against all their values and everything else. So, but anyway, you know what? Let's go ahead and play a little bit of this guy here. Let's see. Let's see. And boom. All right. So anyway, here is the Prime Minister of India at the Houston. I forgot the name of the stadium. I was there when it was the Astrodome, but of course that looks so little. The RJ whatever stadium. I don't know. But anyway, it's a really nice looking stadium. But I still love the Astrodome. Sorry, I saw baseball games and football games in there. So, but anyway, coldest foam in the dome, Houston Astrodome. Cold, and that beer was always cold. Brought right to your seat, and it was always cold, ice cold to your seat. I don't care how cheap of a seat you had, standing room only, you got cold beer brought right to you. Anyway, the Houston Astrodome, yes. But anyway, okay, here's the Prime Minister of India in Houston. Here we go.
This morning, we have a very special person with us. He needs no introduction.
His name is familiar to every person on the planet. His name comes up in almost every conversation in the world on global politics. His every word is followed by tens of millions. He was a household name and very popular even before he went on to occupy the highest office in this great country. From CEO to Commander-in-Chief, from boardrooms to the Oval Office, from studios to global stage, from politics to the economy and to security. He has left a deep and lasting impact everywhere. Today, he is here with us. It is my honor and privilege to welcome here in this magnificent stadium and magnificent gathering. And I can say, I had a chance to meet him often. And every time I found the friendliness, warmth, energy, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, this is extraordinary. This is unprecedented. Friends, as I told you, we have met a few times, and every time he has been the same warm, friendly, accessible, energetic, and full of wit.
And yeah, I mean, you see just, lots of admiration there and stuff. Up, let me get the let's see, I'm gonna get myself back in here. Wrong one, but you can hear me, but I'm on the wrong place. All right, let's see. Hey, there I am. Hey, everybody. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so call now. Lines open. Don't forget, it's ladies' night. Tell your friends. Win free hat. Ta-da! But anyway, so yeah, let's back to the news. But anyway, I mean, Prime Minister of India, man, it's just, man, he was just all over the place on President Trump. It was awesome, and it'd be nice if just one Democrat spoke as nice about President Trump as this guy in India did. That'd be kind of cool, but not happening, unfortunately. So, but yeah, it's just. it's just amazing, and the crowd was going insane. I mean, it was just like, hey DA, how you doing there? Indian to insert. Huh. Well, I don't know about that. But anyway, let's see here. Let me say, hey, Mr. D.A. Archer here. Boom. Hey, DA. But yeah, I mean, the crowd was going insane. Their median income for Indian Americans, I believe, is like about $100,000 a year. They do very well in this country. They own a lot of businesses. They work in, again, science, technology, engineering, and math fields, the STEM fields. They do a lot in medicine. Effie will tell you there's probably a lot of them in computers, high tech. You see a lot of them running over there at Google and stuff, over there, the Google machine people, YouTube, etc. So, I mean, they do very well in this country. And again, why they don't vote Republican, beyond me, I don't know. But again, I think they. In fact, even the guys at Google, I think they believe the stuff they put out about them. They read it enough, they go, yeah, that must be true. It's like, are you sure? Well, I didn't look at it, but it must be. There you go. But but anyway, so here's Joe Biden here, and this interesting story here. Well, let's go and get to that. Okay, and here we go. Boom. All right. So Biden's son, questionable business deals in Ukraine become campaign liability. In other words, and they're not talking to the general election. If it gets that far, the main thing he's got to get past is like Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren talks about corruption in government, talks about how, both sides, and she says this, both sides, they believe, becoming, working in government means you've got a chance to get rich, and Biden fits the bill right on that. I mean, it's just right down the line there. So let's see what she has to say here. Well, let's see rather what the news. This is from S.A. Miller of the Washington Times from today, in fact. Hunter Biden's Hunter Biden's sweetheart foreign business deals are creating a big problem for his father's presidential campaign, providing powerful ammunition for President Trump and for Democratic rivals running on anti-establishment, anti-corruption platforms, to wit Elizabeth Warren. Former Vice President Joseph R. Biden has deflected questions about alleged self-dealing when he was in the White House, and his son served on the board of a Ukrainian gas company. He fired back with claims that Mr. Trump was the one who abused Oval Office power by asking Kiev to open a corruption investigation. Aha. Anyway. And then he says, and then he went on to say, which turned out to be false, I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. Here's what I know. Well, actually, that's not true. His son actually admitted that he did talk to him about it. The cocaine kid, the kid on crack, cocaine, and the kid who was dating his. This was really weird. I'm sorry. This is too strange for me. His brother Bo died, right? So he started dating Bo's widow. Dating. I mean, the whole 10 yards, definitely rounding third base. And he was dating her, and it was really strange. And then he ended up breaking up with her and then getting married. And I don't know who married him. I mean, it was like, oh, you were dating your dead brother's wife. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of just weird. But anyway, that's Hunter. But anyway, Hunter also had ties and had business dealings in China as well. And again, like I was saying earlier, Joe Biden used to brag, oh, I talked to, Xi over in China, the President Xi in China, more than Trump has. Yeah, because he's always trying to, grease the skids for his family's money. I mean, the kid's worth, tens of millions of dollars right now, and he doesn't know anything. I mean, he's a crackhead. He's a cocaine addict. And yet he makes all this money for just sitting around doing cocaine, I guess. But anyway, but Hunter Biden's, hold on here. Mr. Biden snapped a reporter Saturday on the campaign trail in Des Moines, Iowa, saying, I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, and get off my lawn. But Hunter Biden's plum job in Ukraine raised eyebrows in Washington and around the world as soon as he landed in 2014 during the height of tensions over the Russian annexation of Crimea after seizing the territory from Ukraine. The appointment of the vice president's son to a Ukrainian oil board looks nepotistic at best, nefarious at worst. The Washington Post wrote this. Washington Post, Adam Taylor wrote at the time. Hunter Biden, 49, is a Yale-educated lawyer. His drug use and romantic romps have been fodder for the tabloids for years. In July, he explained to the New Yorker magazine that he began dating Hallie Biden, the widow of his deceased brother Bo, after going on a crack cocaine binge. This is a guy, I'm sure they hired him because he was always so stable-minded. Like he wasn't on crack all the time. The cozy arrangement for Hunter Biden, okay, let's see. The cozy arrangement for Hunter Biden in the Ukraine underscores the former vice president's standing as a creature of the political establishment whose family benefited from inside the Beltway perks. The narrative plays directly into the hands of, guess who? Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, who just went over the top of Biden in Iowa in the Iowa polls. Narrative plays directly into the hands of Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, whose crusade against Washington corruption has helped make her the leading alternative to Mr. Biden for the Democratic presidential nomination. She has said in the past, and I think she said this at that NYU rally in New York. Too many politicians. She must have smelled this one coming. Too many politicians in both parties have convinced themselves that playing the money for influence game is the only done. Ms. Warren said recently at a massive campaign rally in New York, no more business as usual. Let's attack the corruption head on. Now, remember now, she said this. This was after Schiff started digging around about that whistleblower in the Ukrainian phone call. Well, Warren's not stupid, and she's been around, and she knew the whole thing about Biden and the kid. Well, Biden talked about it publicly, and she knew that was probably about, Biden's kid, and she knew when that story broke, it was going to break hard on Trump. Don't get me wrong, but she knew it was going to also be coming down on Biden. Now, if you know the Democrats are kind of laying back right now, I sent a chat over to H.A. Goodman's site on his live stream, and I said, what do you think, the media is going to do with Warren? If, Hillary runs and they'll dump her, et cetera, et cetera. But as far as what they're doing right now, they're going to let Trump take some heat for a while. At least Warren's going to let Trump take some heat for a while. But I guarantee you, she's going to circle back and come, scoop up Biden, like he's, roadkill on this one. Because what's his defense? I mean, not to mention when you start looking into this, you can look into China and everything else. You can say, look, you're no better than Trump. It's like if one of Trump's kids was sitting on the board of directors of some, Polish company right now, and then also we put a base there, and then suddenly there's money to be made. The media would be going ballistic. I'm totally ballistic. Like I said last night, like hell, they go ballistic if Ivanka Trump puts out a clothing line. It's like, oh, you're benefiting from your dad being the president. Well, I mean, Jesus. And Kerry's kid was on the same board of directors as well when Kerry was Secretary of State. I mean, these people, they always point the finger at everybody else, but they're over there doing it themselves. So if the nomination race becomes a contest between Biden and Warren, which appears increasingly likely, then Mr. Biden will have to. We got a phone call coming in. Hey, Effie, how you doing?
Hi, Mr. Carl. How you doing?
Fine. Let me just make sure I get everything. I came on early, so when it's light outside, everything looks different. So hold on, let me see.
Yeah, it does. I've heard that. It's not light here, but
it's already dark there. But yeah, no, it's
here on God's time, Eastern Standard Time.
God's time. You East Coast snob. Can't believe you people. But yeah,
East
no.
Coast.
West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. We do a rap song there. But did you ever hear that rap song I did? That rap video I did way back? Were you on my site back then when I did that? Probably not, huh?
But you mentioned it, and I said something about it. Now I don't. I forgot about it. But I was like, "You did a rap song?"
Yeah,
I missed it.
Yeah, I went to find it. No, it's not. Well, it might be on a video way back, but I couldn't tell you which one it was. But it's a long time ago. But yeah, I had a record player, and I did a on a record and stuff, and then I actually did rap lyrics. So it was pretty cool.
Well, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
I'm impressed.
Pretty cool.
80s rap, or it was like 80s rap, kind of like Run DMC kind of stuff.
Excuse me?
Basically.
Let's see. I
like
think
80s Run DMC.
Yeah, probably 80s kind of stuff.
Like that.
Yeah, it was kind of like along the lines of like, hey, this is Carl's opinion. Yeah, I don't know. It was, whatever it was. It sounded better than that. Let's put it that way. It was well produced and scripted, and it definitely sounded good.
I'm still impressed. Impressed. Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying. I just, hey, everything's coming up Pocahontas this week, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's all circling back to her. Well, obviously,
and not only Iowa, apparently New Hampshire also. It looks like it's breaking for her.
I did not hear that.
And then now she's going to be on this like a chicken on a June bug.
Yep.
if she, she's got any brains in her addled, brain, and her addled head. But I
Yeah.
have, I was listening to this news on the way back from a thing I had to do, and I was like, "Whoa, Warren's going to be pulling it out here." So this brings me to another question. Well, first of all, yeah, Biden did this. I'm not. There's no question Biden did this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Biden's son is just a family screw up, and they're doing everything they can do to just keep him, satisfied. He got $50,000 a year being on that board. A month.
Yeah,
A
but
month
say
being on that board.
he got a lot of money. Plus, that was what was reported, over the table.
Yeah,
I'm
just for
sure.
that one gig.
Yeah, I'm sure
Which
there's
was going up his nose at the time.
right.
So, or in his veins, depending on which version he was on at that moment. But
Yeah. I'm sure.
coddled rich boy.
Yeah. Oh no. Like I said, and John Kerry's kid was on the same board.
Yeah. Well, and the Bush family appointed him to one of those boards. He was in bed with the Bushes too. So this is all very incestuous with the corporate types. It's not a DR thing at that level. It's a Yale and a Harvard thing.
Right. Yeah, it was all upper elite stuff. Well, obviously because this is really
Yeah.
Putin just takes over the Crimea. John Kerry's Secretary of State, Biden's the VP, and these two kids get sat on the board for this big, oil, natural gas conglomerate in Ukraine, and nobody says anything about it. The Washington Post wrote an article about it. I don't remember the mainstream media covering anything about it. And it was probably like on page 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, but one of the Trump's kids had
Yeah.
done this. Forget about it. It would be a disaster.
Oh, forget about it, as they say in the East.
Right.
The
Forget
Northeast.
about it. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
But
So,
yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
but Warren, but nevertheless, Warren's going to make hay while the sun shines on it, and it's going to be, it's going to help her edge out because the only thing apparently, allegedly, that Biden has going for him with the powers that be, in his party, the kingmakers, et cetera, and then the mind of certain voters, is that they think he can beat Trump in the general. I don't know why they think that. I just don't know why they think that.
I think they thought he was going to be.
That.
Yeah, I think they thought he was going to be able to take the Midwest with the support of the unions. I thought they probably figured he was going to grab Wisconsin, Michigan, definitely be able to keep Minnesota, and then maybe Ohio. As well with the big union support, and he does have support from the unions because the big thing with them is the health insurance, and of course Warren wants to get rid of their health insurance, and the unions are really pissed off about that. So I think they thought he could grab the Midwest. He'd lose the South. They figured he'd grab the West anyway. He wouldn't lose the West, so the Midwest would be the battleground. So I guess they figured he could grab the Midwest.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that they think was enough to push him through to win. In the general, but I think this could be the crack in that that facade that's already kind of falling apart because it's made out of clay, and I think this could be Warren's her chance. So we'll see.
Well,
I see how it shakes out. How long they keep it going in the media cycle, and how long she can play it.
Yeah, like I said, I think they're gonna. When she gave that speech on Monday at NYU, she knew with the whole thing with Schiff and everything that was coming down, that it was a phone call to the Ukrainian president, probably, and Giuliani been over there, probably about Biden and his kid. So she knew the story was going to break. So my guess is the Democrats, what they're going to do, and let Trump twist in the wind for as long as they can, and let him keep twisting. But the candidate's eventually going to circle back around to Biden. Now, whether she comes at him directly, she might, because this is a big issue for her. She's been fighting for this, for the last 10 years, these issues at least. So she may be the one to take him on and say, we can't be. I'm sure. Look, it's definitely going to be a debate question, and so they're going to give it to her, They
Sure, sure.
they've fallen in love with her now. They know Biden can't go the distance, so they got to prop her up. So they're definitely going to throw that question at him
Sure.
and then give her a chance to respond because she'll be at least she'll either be in the center for the debate, next debate, or she'll be right next to him, number two. So probably number two, and
Yeah.
boom, yeah, game on.
Yeah, I like Walter's comment in your chat. Is Warren going to be claimed to be a factory worker in the Rust Belt and a grain farmer in the plains and a fisherman in the coast as well as an American Indian? I think and probably a black man too. Whatever works, right?
A woman slash man for identity slash for all seasons.
That's right. That's all about that coalition.
Yeah, no, she'll make up the whole coalition. She'll just be one big coalition herself. She won't even need a VP.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, she won't need a VP. She'll just say, "I'm it. I cover all the bases. I don't even need a vice president to get anybody else. I can do whatever. Then no, she'll put Mayor
she's
Pete
an
on.
identity politics chameleon. We know her animal, Carl. I'm the porcupine. She's the chameleon, and you're you were the wolf.
The wolf.
Did we figure out what you were?
I don't know. I'll just say I'm a wolf. That sounds cool. I mean, who doesn't want to be a wolf? I mean,
Duran's wolf.
Exactly.
Hungry like the wolf.
Well, you know what? I saw Mayor Pete. I saw Mayor
She's
Pete.
the chameleon.
Yeah, well, I saw like Mayor Pete.
Oh no!
Well, Mayor Pete's making
a bug flew in my drink, Mr. Carl.
Oh shit! Well, yeah, you're in Florida. You're in Florida.
Shoot.
Oh well.
What happens when you're walking in the dark? Sorry, go ahead. I got distracted because a bug flew in my drink.
Oh, that's so gross.
Distracted.
but yeah.
Not fair.
But
somebody better do something about it. I'm turning into a Democrat. Go ahead.
Yeah, really. So somebody better fix this right away. I don't know who's gonna.
Somebody needs to fix this. This is unfair. Okay, unfair bugs. I feel oppressed. It's because I'm a woman.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
That was
I'm over it now.
Definitely. But no, what I was gonna say was Mayor Pete. He seemed like he was kind of pivoting to the center a little bit when he gave that interview regarding the fact that he goes, I can't even read LGBT magazines anymore, and he knew he was going to catch some crap from it, but that was going to give him some extra points on the moderate side because he was saying like. I guess there's a debate. I didn't know there was this debate, but I guess there's a debate in the gay community that masculine gay men have more access and are granted better favoritism in society than effeminate.
They pass, Mr. Carl.
Right.
Yeah, they pass.
Yeah. Right.
It's
So
the passing, conundrum. Like people who are mixed race depends on how they look, because you know how shallow Democrats are. So it depends on how they look. So they pass or they don't pass. That's why they say Tim Pool doesn't count as mixed race because he passes, whatever the frick that means.
Right, but anyway, it looked like he was making a bid to score some points with to say with Middle America on something like that. So I mean, looking at Warren, she's got to pick. I'm thinking like for VP, she's not going to pick another woman. I mean, she says we're all women here, but I don't see her picking a woman. There's no need to. I mean, if she's smart, she's got to get votes.
No. Yeah, she's got that covered. She's got the V vote covered. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. Yeah. So, but I mean, if Mayor Pete makes a nice little run here at the end and starts, getting up there in the polls, then she might be be someone for her to look at. I don't know.
I think her and I think the people, the Democrats, the people in charge, the party, as well as her people, will see Mayor Pete as being more reasonably minded and able to be worked with.
Right. Oh yeah, because he's got
a Beto.
Well, no, you can't control him. He's all over the place.
He's a Looney Tune.
Well, yeah. I mean, he has no.
I don't want a Looney Tune.
No, he has no credibility, and his polling is. I mean, his.
There be? The other woman, no, that knocks out Kamala. Cory Booker, he's in the negative percentages at this point. People just freaking hate him. He's pathetic as well. I mean, he does give them another minority though.
Yeah, but nobody likes him.
That's all he would bring.
I mean, yeah, nobody
likes him. He's unlikable.
Yeah, I mean,
he's the anti-Obama.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. He's polling really bad among African American voters in South Carolina. He's polling really bad. I mean, he's not even on the radar. Oh,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess because he's snobby. That's how he appears to me. He's very snobby.
Well,
not
yeah, I mean,
likable.
well, he went to Oxford. You know, he went.
Personality-wise, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not good with that stuff, but that's how I see him.
no, I agree. No, he went to Oxford. He
What
went
were
to
you saying?
Yale. Yeah, no, he went to Oxford, Yale. He grew up in a
Mm-hmm.
very, rich neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Both his parents were Wall Street executives. So yeah, he wasn't really. He'd really go around the working man until he got out of law school and then went to work for. He was working in the projects, I think, as an attorney, like legal aid attorney or something, but not because like he wasn't struggling living as a legal aid attorney. I mean, yeah, he was living in that neighborhood, but trust me, he had plenty of cash. I mean, his folks are right up there in
Sure.
Manhattan. So I mean, it wasn't like he was going to be starving to death working for legal aid, making minimum wage as an attorney. No, no. And plus, everything was paid for, so it wasn't like he had any bills. So so he really didn't struggle, living down there in those neighborhoods. He was fine, and I'm sure he went away on vacations and went away for the weekends and took off to, as soon as he left there, probably, got home. First thing he did was like rip all his clothes off, set them on fire, and jump in the shower, and then like go off somewhere, and then try to forget
Well,
about the whole
that's the
place.
impression I get of the man. So okay, so that leaves you really just. I mean, did de Blasio? He dropped out.
Yeah,
Gillibrand dropped out, right?
right.
I mean, who do they have that's really making way? They hate that
Castro guy.
lady that they refer to as Crystal lady. They hate her.
Yeah.
So who's left with the Mayor Pete?
Not for her. I mean, right? Because you got to match him up. Like for her matching with somebody, right?
Jill, the other lady. They hate Tulsi. They hate Tulsi.
Yeah. Well, no, they're not. No, they're
she's
not going to pick
even allowed
her.
on stage.
No. No.
They wouldn't pick her.
Well, no, she's got too
They
much.
hate her.
Well, they think she's pro-life. She's got too much pro-life background. So
Yeah.
there's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way.
And honestly, her being active duty works against her for the Democrat Party. I mean, not in a general election, it doesn't, but for the party,
Yeah.
it works
Well,
against her because they're trying to appeal to the leftists, and they just have this what am I trying to say? Hostile relationship with military.
yeah, they do.
in
I
there.
mean, Mayor Pete gets away with it again because he's gay. So I was always joking in the beginning, like, he's probably not even gay. Like this is a good friend of his, and he goes, okay, we got to pretend we're gay. He's like, why? Well, I want to be president. There's no way, I'm a white guy who's in the military. He's like, shit, I'll never get and I'm a liberal, so I can't run for the Republicans. I run for the Democrats. They're never going to talk to me. So just say we're gay, okay? Again, he's another guy like who puts on a hat, a pair of sunglasses, and then goes out somewhere, and then has some girlfriend somewhere, far away, like in Canada or something. Like some pictures are going to show up of him with some girlfriend in Canada.
The president decided to say he was bisexual, and he's considering a gender reassignment as well. I would just love that. Wouldn't that just set fire to their world?
That would be
They
insane.
would have to, by their own standard, which of course they don't have, but by their own standard, they would have to take that seriously,
Right.
And especially if he just keeps it up. He just doesn't let up and does it in, the straight man version.
Yeah.
Just of comedy.
Right. That would. Yeah,
like,
right.
no,
if we never.
You will address me as, what is that pronoun? Zer. Zer. And I was like, Zer president. So just take all of it away from him. I'd love that. Oh
Right.
my gosh! And it would be funny if he ran his DNA and his genes, and he's more Native American than Elizabeth Warren. That would be awesome. Oh my gosh! I wonder if there's a way to do that. Anyway.
Well, yeah, it's funny because he said he has more Indian DNA than she does, and he has none. And
Yeah, I remember that quote.
Yeah, but it's it would be funny if he.
So here's my question. Go ahead.
It'd be funny if he actually did have some Indian blood in him. I mean, that would be just kind of funny.
Yes, I think it would be hilarious. Plus, coming out as bi and possibly trans, he's thinking about it, and oh my gosh, it would be awesome. And get Melania on the whole thing, and like, yeah, we've had many discussions. And he tries on my shoes at night, It'd be
Right.
awesome. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it'd be the ultimate troll. He would go down in history as like the badassest troll in the world. So here's my question.
Yes.
My question is that a word, badass? Anyway, my question is, okay, so like a few days ago, I heard, I didn't get to see it, I heard it because I listen to things while I'm working, and allegedly the president came out with a political commercial slamming Biden for his gaffes.
Oh.
The series of just a series of drive-by media clips, not using any Fox News, just a series of MSNBC, CNN, and all the gang.
Was that him or
reporting on Biden's?
Yeah, was that him or is that the RNC that put that out?
Well, see, that's the question I have. Is it him or is it the RNC? Because my question is, why the heck would they do that now? Because wouldn't the point be that if this guy is that, like, you could put together a slamming commercial like that, wouldn't you wait for him to be the actual nominee? Because slamming him now only then helps whoever's trying to fight him and the Democrat, no matter who did it, the Republicans did it or the president's people did it. I don't understand.
Well,
it's
jumping
the gun.
Well, I think this kind of goes.
Helps like Warren.
Well, yeah, but I think part of their strategy is what kind of we were talking about earlier. In other words, the unions hate Warren, okay? Because again, they negotiated these. I mean, I negotiated for the town on the firefighters contract when I was town attorney with the union, and I was lead negotiator representing the town. And a big thing was their pay package, their health benefits, and all that kind of stuff. And everybody that goes into these negotiations realize they have to give up a couple of dollars an hour in salary per hour in salary to get that health insurance package. So they're willing to trade that off. And they know if you do this Medicare for all, mandated Medicare for all, and you now have to you lose your health insurance package. If you go back to your employer, the unions go back to the employer and say, hey, remember those $2 an hour we gave up to get the health package? Well, you're no longer providing that, so we want those $2 an hour back. Well, the employer is going to say, here, I want you to look at my books. Here's the increase in taxes I have to pay for your Medicare for all, and I don't have the money to give you that extra $2 back. So they don't want to lose that. Now, I think what the Trump people are thinking about is that maybe Biden does have a good shot to peel off the union workers in the Midwest and lose Michigan and Wisconsin and possibly Ohio. And not be able to take Minnesota, but they figure Warren.
Well, they can't be stupid enough not to know what they're affecting right now is the Democrats.
Well, yeah,
of the primary vote, or however they do it, not the general. So obviously that's what they're doing. So that tells me that whoever made that, whether it was the Republicans or if it was Trump's people, whoever made that, they're more afraid of Biden than they are of Warren. Is that what you're saying? You think because of the Middle American
right
union votes?
Well, I think they what they're thinking is that if Warren gets the nomination, they can peel away that union, that Democrat union voter. Okay, they can hammer home that you're going to lose your health insurance, and they can hammer that message home really, really hard. And again, all the unions are coming out supporting Biden in the primaries. Firefighters union, a bunch of AFL, the AFL-CIO obviously hasn't made a pick yet because they don't. But I mean, a lot of smaller unions, national unions, are making the pick for Biden right now. So if Biden doesn't get the nomination, there's no way these people can support Warren and give up that health. Remember, in 2018, we kind of missed it. We missed how much the American people cared about health insurance and health care. Well, they're not missing it now. And so now that we know how much they care about it, they're going to care just as much in 2020. And with Warren on that ticket, I think they can peel those union workers right back over to Trump's side.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, what the heck are you doing? If Biden's going to be the nominee, don't you want to hit him after, hitting him now would not. Anyway, I was a bit like, where's the strategy? Now I get it. They don't want Biden. Okay, all right. See, I was of the mind that Biden, because of his issues, is getting easier and easier to beat, but still, yeah, the union cabal makes it still. He's got a base no matter what. So okay, I gotcha. That makes sense.
Right. They
want Warren. They want her to be the nominee, and she's just, she's just Diet Hillary, so she's just Hillary 2.0. So,
right. Oh, yeah. No. She's probably
the same flavor, but with aspartame instead of real sugar. She got a few less dead bodies in the closet, I guess. So, But anyway, as far as I know. But we never assume.
Yeah,
But so I would see her as being an easier butt to kick, in my opinion.
let's see. I'm trying to figure out.
Just because of that. And it's not even because Biden is such a good nominee. It's because what he represents to those groups and that what they have made him into. And, he's, yeah. God, what is it with unions? Why are they so stupid sometimes? Anyway, all the time.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Right now. I know you were involved with the union.
Well, no, I was a union member. I was in the carpenters union, and we had a great healthcare package. We really did.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I remember working a construction job in '92 when George H.W. lost to Bill Clinton, and there were a bunch of Republicans on that job site, including me, and we were all pissed off. We were all like, because we had to be at work the next day, that Wednesday, and we were all like, we were all bummed out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We weren't happy. It was like, oh Jesus, this really sucks. So
I don't want to get negative. I'm just, if I get into all the reasons why I don't like unions, we've already talked about this anyway. But how they take your money and donate to political parties that you don't have any control over, and especially teachers, they're involved with unions and they don't have to, they end up supporting policies that are.
Well, the Supreme Court,
bad for education
the Supreme Court just came down.
They don't have a choice.
Supreme Court just came down, and I read it a while back. The decision from the Supreme Court saying that they're cutting out like where you. If you pay dues, if you don't necessarily have to pay dues, or they have to reduce the amount of dues you pay by how much they use for political contributions and all that kind of stuff. So if you pay dues, you don't necessarily have to be supporting their political contributions. So it was bound that decision was bound to come down sooner or later, and it finally did.
The Supreme Court just did that.
I want to say, I want to say it was like 9-10 months ago. I think I covered it. I think I might have covered it at the time, or
but on the ground, as you know, a guy who was in the union, right, on the ground. You try to go up to your boss and say that your union rep and say that I'm not paying this, because the Supreme Court says I don't have to. How does that really going to fall out for you as a everyday schlub trying to work?
Well, I mean,
I'll find somebody who can. Is that what?
No, I know.
Happen?
No, I was good friends with the financial secretary for my local union. He knew my politics. I mean, we used to talk politics all the time. He was on the left, I was on the right. We always talked politics. So I mean, that was I was the last job I had. Actually, I left law school for 2 semesters to help my folks start their business, and I was working. No, actually, I apologize. That's not correct. There was a job before that. It was one I had in 1992, and that was pretty close to where I lived. Actually, that was in Norco. That was actually the Naval Weapons Center. And, everybody knew my politics. I had signs on my front lawn for Bush. I went to the rallies. Bush actually came to Riverside. I mean, that was crazy. I got to see him. I was working in the Assemblyman's office at the time. So, I mean, everybody knew my politics. And again, it was a different time, though. I don't know what it's like now, but I mean, back then you could have political discussions. And you could be conservative and you could be a Republican, and nobody wanted to throw you off the building, So, I don't know what it's like now. I don't know what it's like now.
Make it past politics. I would just, I'm wondering though, even if they're looking at it as just a financial thing, hey, I want the money, so I'm going to fire you and hire the guy.
Well, no.
That's going to pay the full due.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
who doesn't have your principles?
Well, I have no idea. I have no idea. Like the trade I work in, it wasn't like the union hired. The union didn't hire you. Okay, I mean, if you sat around the union hall waiting for the union to give you a job, well, you were a loser. You went out and got your own job. You went to the job sites. You went to the job sites. You talked to the foreman. You talked to the superintendent. You told them who you worked for in the past. I remember the first job I had in California. I didn't work for anybody in California, obviously. And I'm like, hey, I'm really good, and this, that, and the other. And I kept talking. I talked my way right into a job, and the guy goes, okay, fuck it. Just shut up. I'll hire you. Give me your paper to sign, the referral. So I took it back to the hall, and he goes, oh, he hired you? And I go, yeah. And he goes, how'd you do that? I go, no, I just kept talking. He goes, oh, okay. So I went to work for him, but it worked out really good. I mean, he was happy with me. I was happy working there. So, but yeah, I never waited for the union to give me a job. You go out and get your own work, and then you go back to the union, and they sign your paperwork, and you go back and you sign up, and you go back to work the next day.
Right. Well, I have a family member who I just got a little muddled. I had a family member who the union actually did help her get. She's in the teaching profession. Helped her get a different assignment a couple of times when there were problems. But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
That's
it just
cool.
made me wonder. If you're not going to pay the due, what happens? And so that brings me to the question: what power do they have over if you just don't want to pay those dues? I mean, I know.
Well, no, you fill out a form. I think you have to fill out a form. I think you have to. No, I think you have to fill out a form, and it says you have to fill out a form that says, do you want to contribute this to whatever or not, and then it comes out of your check, and the idea that, I mean, some of the unions are massive. The idea that somebody's going to be going through and saying, oh, this guy, oh, this guy, oh, this guy. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but I mean, so there's a lot of people in some of these unions. I'm not sure everybody's going to waste the time on it, and it doesn't affect.
Well, Carl, I don't know if anybody's told you, but nowadays we have computers for that, so it's pretty easy to go through a list.
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, I don't think, but who's going to care?
Not that hard.
Who's gonna care?
So,
in other words, it's not gonna affect their salaries. It's not their salaries. That's look. The most important thing those guys who work in the upper echelons of the unions are their paychecks. Okay, and that doesn't affect their paychecks. Okay, it just means they can't give to this cause or that cause.
Yeah. So I was wondering. So this political part of it aside, I don't want to pay for the politics. If you just don't want to be, you're in a union job and you just don't want to pay dues, what power does the union have? Like they take away your membership, and then what happens? You're not allowed to work in that industry in that area.
Well, no. Your dues, if I'm not mistaken, the agreement. If I'm not mistaken, the agreement the union has with the contractors, like again, I can only speak to the construction field. Is that it comes out of their paycheck. It's like it's a deduction. You never see it. Your dues come out of your paycheck. It's not like you write a check, once a month to the union for your dues. It comes out of your paycheck, and then if you're laid off or something, then whatever. I mean, I can't remember how that worked. I mean, I stayed in the union even when I at one point I was going like back and forth to school. I'd take off a semester, go work construction, save up some money, go back to school, back and forth. I stayed in the union the whole time. I just don't remember like writing a check to them while I was in school. I don't remember that, so I don't know how. I don't know if it.
Right, you go to HR and say, "Don't take it out of my check." Then I mean, I'm just saying, if you withhold the money from the union, what power?
Yeah, but I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can withhold it. I think it's if you're going on a union job. Okay, I mean, you got if like for me, okay, I can't just walk up and to a contractor and say hire me, and he says now they have a contract with the union. They can only hire union people, right? That's it. They're not going to blow the contract for you. So they say, okay, go back to the hall, get a referral, and then
or
you're breaking up.
Gets everybody who works for them to break. Yeah, to disassociate from the union. Would that be something that's totally impossible to do under our current structure?
No. Well, again, I can only speak about the construction field. I don't know about anything else. Construction field, these contractors sign a deal with the union, right? And they have a contract with the union to hire union employees, and there's a reason for that. Okay, in the construction field, I'll tell you right now. You get a union carpenter journeyman. Okay, the minimum, that means he's gone through at least 3 years of the apprenticeship program. He's gone to class. He's had to work so many hours per quarter to advance to the next period of the apprenticeship. There's like 9 periods when I was in it. So you got to, you have to work so many hours, and you have to go to class once a week, which sucks, for like 4 hours a night, and then you take exams and everything else. So by the time he gets to be a journeyman, you can count on that guy. He knows what the shit he's doing. So when you hire you bid a job site, and journeyman goes for $30 an hour.
Yeah,
okay, but you know how much production you're going to get from that journeyman versus you hire some joker off the street. You don't know how much experience he has. He can bullshit you. Oh, I've worked all these jobs. But if you hire a journeyman, he's had to work so many hours, over so many quarters, and to get to be called the journeyman, to get that journeyman card, and the same thing, a first period apprentice, he's brand new.
Yeah, but that's convoluting union cards with licensure, though. I mean, we had to do. Remember, my brother's a general contractor. And I actually helped him through the year of getting his GC license, and I know what was involved in doing it. So that's all done through the state. You don't have to have a union. We're a right-to-work state. So you don't have to have a union to get certified and insured and do all those courses and get all that stuff to be those things.
Well, as far as
that's just the union tacking on an extra card for what you have to do anyway.
No, that's not true, because you can get electrician.
Because we do it here, right?
You can get electrician certification. You can get a welding certification. You can get all those things. But as far as I know, there's not a requirement to show how many hours you've worked. In other words, when you hire a journeyman, okay, I'm going to stick.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stick just.
Okay,
hold on. Hey. Okay, look. Okay, one of us can talk at a time. Okay, that's how it works. I talk. I hesitate. You talk. No, right? You talk. Right, and then I wait for you, and then I start talking. See how that works? That's called a conversation. So let's do that, okay? Sound good? No? All right. Anyway, what I was saying was that for the carpenters union, there is no certification for saying master carpenter. I've never seen one. Okay, I've never had that. Now, a contractor says to himself, okay, I'm doing a high-rise building, okay, and I need to know that the people I hire are going to be trained and skilled enough for me to put a bid on that building. You know, how many floors I got to do, like say drywall. How many floors I got to do, how much drywall I got to hang, all that stuff. Okay, I know these union guys are going to be able to get, so many square feet done per day. So I can bid it that way. Now, you're hiring people off the street. You don't necessarily know that. I mean, it's a choice of the contractor. The contractor doesn't have to hire union workers. A contractor doesn't have to make a contract with the union. He can say, I'm going to be a non-union contractor. But let me tell you something. To do high rises, good luck. Good luck on that. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to get done.
Well,
it's not going to get done on time.
Union, right?
Well, even a right to work state. Even a right
to different.
Well, every state I've worked in has been a right to work state. And all the contractors I worked for, and every contractor I worked for was a union contractor, and they all said the same thing. They said, no, I would never be a non-union contractor. I talked to the superintendents and stuff. We would never be a non-union contractor because we at least can trust who you have a base of who you're getting. If you hire somebody as a first period apprentice, he's down at the bottom. Okay, so you don't have to pay him that much. If you hire somebody who's a 6th, 7th period apprentice, you know what you're getting for the most part. Okay, and then not to mention union guys know other union guys. So the foremans and stuff know, oh yeah, I know that guy from this job. He sucks. Don't hire him, or just send him down the road, whatever. So there's money to be made by hiring union people. If it wasn't, they would be all non-union. You wouldn't need any. You can say I'm a contractor. I'm not going to hire any union people. I'm not going to sign a contract with a union. But if you're building high rises in any city, if you try doing non-union workers, good luck. Good luck on that. This one guy was telling me a story, like he was watching these guys try to frame a room with metal studs, and they were doing it like they would do with wood framing. They were building it down on the floor and then trying to raise it up, not realizing that concrete is not level all the way across. It's not like doing a house, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong, why it wasn't fitting in different parts and stuff. And he said he was on a 2-gate site. Basically, you had union workers and non-union workers on the same site, so they were looking at him to see how he was doing what he was doing. He wasn't wanting to show them anything, because they didn't know what they were doing. And it was a complete disaster. So, I mean, it's a choice.
You can have those stories in any situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing comes down to the choice of the contractor.
A layer of added guarantee of training, in your opinion, the unions are. They add a layer of, hey, you have to get this to achieve this. You have to prove yourself.
Right.
And I'm like, well, how do we do that for people who aren't union? Because, I know, like, the licensure that my brother went through took years. It took years of his experience. He had to show how many buildings he built, where and how, and what he was in charge of. And also, like you said, hours and hours of training, in class time, testing, et cetera. Money, lots of money to get this license. Takes a year after you already have all that experience.
Right, that was to get his general contractor's license, correct?
Yeah. So I was wondering, why is it any different for, say, a master carpenter? Or he was actually a master carpenter before he was a general contractor, and before that he was a roofer, as they do. They go from
Yeah,
and you give a dollar.
I've never seen,
trade.
I've never seen like a master carpenter certification. There might be one. I've never seen it. I've heard people say
Yeah.
I've heard people
Mhm.
say they're master carpenters. I've seen people put ads in the paper saying they're a master carpenter, but that's about. And then they'll put like their
Mhm.
license. They'll put their license number, and that makes people think, oh, that's their master carpenter's license. No, that's like that's
It's
their
just a trade.
right. That's their contractor's license or their
Okay.
handyman license or whatever the hell license it is. But they say, oh, master carpenter.
Mhm.
Well, I've never heard of one. As far as I know, the state of
Mhm.
Nevada does not issue a certification for a master carpenter. It might. I don't know. I've never
Mhm.
seen it.
Yeah. So that, yes, Mike, it's sort of like my question with, well, what's the difference between why do you need a homeowners association if you can just have your county regs cover the important stuff, the rest of it deal with it between neighbors. Why do you need a homeowner? To me, it's just an added layer of government.
Why do you need a homeowner's what? Would you
Expense
say?
and people up your nose.
What'd you say? What do you need a homeowner's?
Which part?
You said homeowners insurance? No, you didn't say that. What did you say? Homeowners. What do you need a homeowner's what?
No. Uh, Association, an HOA.
Oh, well, yeah.
An HOA? Can you hear me okay?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a choice. Yeah, people make a choice to live in HOA type neighborhoods. In other words, if you want to live in a like in Pahrump, we have HOA neighborhoods with CC&Rs, and we have non-HOA neighborhoods with no CC&Rs. Now, here's the problem: you can build a really, really nice house here in Pahrump because land is people buy land and then have a house built on it. You can buy a nice piece of land, acre and a quarter, 2 acre, 2.5 acre plot of land, build a super nice house on it, and literally right next door to you, somebody could buy an acre and a quarter, put a single wide pre-HUD trailer on it, and hook up a well and a septic tank, and they live in right next door to you. And that's the problem. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because then you're living in a house that costs you $450,000-$500,000, which is a lot of money out here in Pahrump, and probably not in Florida, but a lot of money up here. And then here's a guy who bought a piece of land for $40,000 and then put a $15,000 single wide trailer on it, and that's your neighbor. So it's your choice, though. I mean, but we have some HOA
That's what I
neighborhoods.
meant in the sense of there's zoning, right? So
Well, no, you have zoning, but
they can control some of that with.
well, you can't discriminate. You can say single family house. You can't say single family like
Okay.
stick built house and say you can't put a single wide trailer on it. You can't. Well, I mean, you could try to. Maybe in some jurisdictions they do that, but
They
in this
do.
yeah. Well, in this jurisdiction,
Yeah,
in this
they do.
jurisdiction, if you tried doing that, whoever tried it would be voted out of office in 2 minutes. A lot of people live in single, double
Because they're
wide.
very popular there.
Yeah.
The trailers.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
move up here, they
Well,
can buy a
they're
piece
really
of land.
limited here. We have them, but they're like you got to have them in a particular place, and they have to be very, very. They tore down an entire one and rebuilt it because they're like, nope, we have hurricanes here. So yeah, the county regs are pretty tough on things like that. That's what I was wondering. I mean, to me, what I was saying was that I was just making an analogy that unions to me are similar to HOAs in that some people love their HOAs. Yeah, they like that extra layer of, people controlling their neighborhood, whatever. To me, it's an extra layer of people telling you what to do, and they're the devil. So it's that's a different opinion on it.
No. I've lived in both, and I like the freedom of
So
not.
have I.
Yeah, I like the freedom of not living
Yes.
in an HOA. But then again, I've lived in a nice house, and then had some really trashy people live right next door to me. So I probably lean more on the side of living next door to the trashy neighbor than living in an HOA. But but what do you got? Your cat?
Yeah, he's trying to swallow a piece of string, and I just don't want him to have an intestinal problem.
No, that'd be kind of
I'm trying
messy.
to catch him because I'm trying to catch him. He's running away from me. So there's the life of a cat person. Oh, sheesh. So his job is to kill himself, and my job is to try to stop him. Kind of like my son. I didn't ask for this cat, Carl, as you know.
Right? Yeah, you kind of inherited
this
it.
cat was-
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people have born with catness, and some people have catness thrust upon them. So here we are.
It's funny. D.A. Archer wrote to the great dirtbag saying, because I have his lady, don't forget his ladies' night up there. So the Airja wrote, "Do you think you should mess with Carl and call in, tell him it can't be ladies' night?"
Tell him it can't be ladies? Oh, yeah. Call him. No, he could call in and identify as a woman, and you can't say anything about it.
That's right. I'd
That's
be
what
like,
he can do.
well, no, actually, what I did is I put
I think
the
we've established that already, right?
yeah. Well, I had my little thing at top saying, "Call now, lines open," and also tell your friends, free hat, and don't forget it's ladies' night. So I just had this little thing
Yeah.
bleeping at the top of the. I figured it was kind of funny to do. I was sitting around today. I worked yesterday. I thought I was gonna have to go in today, but I said, shit. I think I got everything I needed to get done yesterday. I've been organizing my stuff for Monday, and I'm like, oh shit. So I was sitting around today, and I'm playing on vMix, and I'm like, oh, what can I do today?
Came on.
Yeah, and I was like, what can I play with today on vMix? So I just came up with like, oh, I'll come up with a flashing title. Let's do that. So I figured. I mean, I can.
Well, I like it. I like it, Carl. But on the other hand, far be it from me to take advantage of identity politics. So
Right.
I have no qualms with people calling in who are of the male persuasion.
Right. Well,
no problem whatsoever. I hope my cat doesn't die.
Well, no,
Anyway.
I hope so too. That'd be awful. That'd be terrible.
Oh, crap. Little creepo, he just ran away from me. He's under the bed, and I can't get to him now. And I hope he's not swallowing the string. He had it dangling out of his mouth, and I couldn't get to him.
Well,
But this is what happens, Carl.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what.
Take him to the vet tomorrow.
I tell you what. Well, let me let you go and see if anybody else wants to call in.
Okay.
And but hey, thanks for the phone call.
I think Miss Ashley was going to call, or DA was trying to get her to call.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
We'll
good deal.
see.
All right, young lady. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right. Bye-bye. And that was a great Effie Loves America. Always a great phone call from her. And the phone lines are open, so call now. And don't forget, it's ladies' night. Tell your friends. Win free hat. Call now. Lines open. Do-do, 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 do-do. Anyway, yeah, I was kind of playing around with vMix. That's the streaming software I use. And I'm like, oh, what can I do today? And I'm like, I'll come up with a flashing title. And so, so I just kind of pieced it together, and I'm like, oh, this will work. Let's do this. So, but no, it's the ladies' night line. I got that from the Blues Brothers. If you remember, movie made back in 1980 with Jim Belushi rather, and they were driving through this one place trying to get people to go to that concert at the end of the movie. And they saw some women there, and it's ladies' night. Don't forget it's ladies' night. So figured that'd be kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, Ukrainian foreign minister denies Trump pressured leader during the phone call. So interesting story here. Let's see. Let's go and take a look at this one. All right. So this whole nonsense, which is turning into another bunch of nonsense. I mean, the attorney going to work for this quote unquote whistleblower. He's a never Trumper, and the other attorney was a never Trumper, and they worked for the Clintons and everything. So again, they just the Mueller thing ended, so we knew another scandal. They had to find some other scandal to go jump after. So here they found this one. So anyway, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Vadim Persat, I can't pronounce it, but anyway, Vadim Persat denied reports that President Trump pressured Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky during a July phone call that is reportedly the subject of a whistleblower complaint. According to recent reports, the president repeatedly urged Zelensky to investigate 2020 Democratic frontrunner Joe Biden's son's ties to an energy company owned by a Ukrainian oligarch when the two spoke over the phone this summer. The call reportedly prompted an intelligence community whistleblower complaint that House Democrats are currently trying to get their hands on. Persat, however, dismissed the claims in a Saturday interview, saying, I know what the conversation was about, and I think there was no pressure. This conversation was long, friendly, and it touched on many questions, sometimes requiring serious answers. President Trump has also denied any wrongdoing on his part, pointing instead to Biden's threat to withhold $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees if Ukraine did not fire its top prosecutor, who had been investigating the oligarch who owned the energy company for which his son was a board member, while he was still the vice president. On Saturday, Biden rejected that notion that he had pressured the Ukrainian government on behalf of his lobbyist son. Instead, he called for an investigation of Trump's conversation. Anyway, so far, Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire has refused to release the contents of the whistleblower complaint in Congress. He's expected to testify before the Senate and House intelligence panels next week. Let's see. So, and of course, we count on this guy to jump ship. Like, well, there wasn't even. I don't think he was ever on the ship to begin with. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Troubling in the extreme. Romney breaks ranks with GOP over Trump in Ukraine. Oh, big surprise. Was he? First of all, I don't think he ever was in the ranks with the GOP. I mean, so, and of course he hates Trump with a passion. So, because he lost in 2012 and Trump won in 2016. And Romney was a bad campaigner also. I mean, he didn't know how to go out there and talk to people. He just didn't. He just couldn't talk to anybody. I mean, that was his biggest problem because he never had to his whole life. He never had to talk to any regular people. So he put out this little tweet here, and you can read it there. If the president asked or pressured Ukraine's president to investigate his political rival, either directly or through his personal attorney, it would be troubling in the extreme. Critical for facts to come out. Yeah, okay. And then, of course, Nancy Pelosi. Why not? Just jump on this one. What else? What else are we doing today? I don't know. Not getting work done, so might as well just, Pelosi. Grave new chapter of lawlessness. Pelosi opens the door to impeachment. Of course, the grave new chapter of lawlessness. The thing is, for 2.5 years they were telling us everything was lawlessness and everything was impeachable and everything was terrible. So it's just kind of hard to take these people serious anymore. It's literally the people who cried wolf. We're talking about wolves. People who cried wolf. I mean, they cried wolf so many times that you don't believe anything they have to say anymore. And you kind of you almost want to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. You say, well, okay, I'm just going to give. I don't like giving anybody the benefit of the doubt, but that's just who I am. I'm kind of cynical. But I mean, you have to give this guy the benefit of the doubt on these cases because who's bringing them? And there was a story I had here where it said, let's see. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Excuse me real quick. Yeah, this story. Hold on. Grab some water. I'm in the desert. It's really dry out here. Not like Florida, where it's like water everywhere. But then again, we don't have bugs landing in our drinks. So you take the good with the bad. What can I tell you? All right, so this story from the Washington Examiner from yesterday, whistleblower didn't have direct knowledge of the communications between Trump and the Ukraine. So let's take a look at this. There we go. All right, let's see. The whistleblower who filed a complaint, there we go. Whistleblower who filed a complaint with the intelligence community, the Inspector General, did not have direct knowledge of the communications between President Trump and the foreign leader in question. The conversation was reportedly a July 25th phone call between Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. So that's interesting. The whistleblower who filed the complaint with the intelligence community, Inspector General, did not have direct knowledge of the communications between President Trump and the foreign leader in question. So let's read on. The conversation was reportedly a July 25th phone call between Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. It is alleged that Trump urged Zelensky multiple times to work with his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, to investigate Joe Biden's son's, Hunter Biden's ties to the energy company owned by the Ukrainian oligarch. Giuliani had previously urged a top official in Ukraine to look into the ties. An official who has been briefed on the matter, however, told CNN that the whistleblower didn't have direct knowledge of the communications. The official said that the concerns and subsequent complaint came in part from the whistleblower learning information that was not obtained during the course of their work. Well, I'm not sure what that means. Whistleblower learning information that was not obtained during the course of their work. So I guess he's trying to say, "Oh, I wasn't spying on the president. Somebody told me." So it probably was spying on the president. So So those details have reportedly played a role in the administration's determination that the complaint lodged in August didn't fall under the reporting standards for intelligence whistleblower law, which says if intelligence official. I think the law was passed during the Clinton administration, and it says there's a whistleblower. Obviously you can't go to the administration, but you have to go to the inspector general, and then it's up to the inspector general then to report it out to. Inspector General reported out to Congress. So, although many details are still unclear, the communications in question reportedly involved a promise, and House Democrats And House Democrats, as well as the elder Biden, are pushing to have the complaint and transcripts of the call between Trump and Zelensky released. Inspector General of the Intelligence Community Michael Atkinson received the initial complaint and forwarded it to Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire, who has so far refused to pass it along to Congress. The root of the proposed investigation of Hunter Biden stems from his being a 2014 board member for the natural gas firm Burisma Holdings. While he was still vice president, Joe Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees if Ukraine did not fire its top prosecutor, who was accused of corruption and was investigating the oligarch who owned Burisma Holdings. That raised concerns of a potential conflict of interest, which could be damaging to Biden's presidential campaign. At the time of the prosecutor's departure, Hunter Biden was being paid, as Effie said earlier, $50,000 per month. For his work with the energy company. Hunter Biden left Burisma's board earlier this year. He got paid a lot of money for a while. Both Trump and Biden have denied any wrongdoing with Trump, describing his phone call to Zelensky as perfectly fine, and Biden saying he has never spoken to his son about his overseas business dealings. There you go. So he didn't have direct information, so he really wasn't a whistleblower, so it really doesn't fall under the statute. Go figure. All right, let's see here. And even the New York Times reporter saying Ukraine story is a significant liability for Joe Biden. This reported by the Washington Examiner, reporting what the New York Times was saying. And New York Times reporter says Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden faces a significant liability in the developing story about allegations that the former vice president may have pressured the Ukrainian government on behalf of the lobbyist son Hunter. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take a look at the chat real quick because I like to make sure I'm not missing you guys in the chat here. Let's see. He played a video where Biden said on TV he knew about his son's dealings. No, I didn't play that. I don't have that queued up, Solex. So I didn't I don't have the video on that one queued up. Let's see. I'll take care. Let's see. I'm on the phone. No idea how to upload videos from other sources with it. I got hold of Charity and she has a bunch of stuff first thing a.m. so she can. Okay. All right. Oh, okay, DA. Yeah, I see what you wrote there. Okay, good deal. All right. Yeah. Well, you gotta get up. You gotta get up. Yeah, that's right. It's still, relatively speaking, 10:49 right now on the East Coast. So there you go. All right. So let's take a look at our next story here. This is a fun story. Let's see. Trump, Australian PM praised strong U.S. economy during Ohio visit. This was kind of cool. Yeah, everybody's here. Everybody's in town for the big United Nations meeting this week, so that's why everybody's in town. You got the Australian guy visiting with Trump. You got the Indian Prime Minister visiting with Trump. I mean, I'm sure they're all talking about China because everything. Well, first of all, there's no love lost between India and China. Okay, let's make sure that's real clear to everybody. They're like the big competitors over there. They don't like each other, so I'm sure India would love to be really close to the United States, and probably join it. And not to mention whatever China can make with inexpensive, cheap labor, India can make. And I'm sure the Prime Minister was telling Trump, whatever those guys are making for you guys over here, we can make all that. But now we have some trade. There's some tariff issues with India too. So I mean, they're tough negotiators also. I mean, look, we're very fortunate we have a president right now in the White House that is a tough negotiator because these people over there, they're not, these people have been negotiating for thousands of years. That's, they've been around for a long time. The Indus River Valley, going back to the Ming Dynasty and the Yellow River Valley. I mean, those civilizations have been around for a long time. and they were negotiating for a long time. They're really good at it. So you need a really good, tough negotiator. But yeah, I mean, look, everybody's looking out for the best interest of their country. Fantastic. Adam Smith, competing self-interest. That's what you want. No problem. Everybody knows what time of day it is. So they're going to try to get the best deal for their country. But unfortunately, we've had presidents in the past who weren't trying to get the best deal for this country. They're trying to get the best deal for somebody else's country. And of course, the other side, will take advantage of that because why not? They're like, well, if you're stupid enough to give it away to us, we're smart enough to take it. Thank you very much. Well, this president's like, we're not giving you shit. We're going to do a win-win situation. And they're like, a win-win? What's that? We only thought it was a win-lose, like we win, you lose. And he's been having to educate people over there. No, we're going to negotiate like you guys negotiate with each other over in Southeast Asia and Asia. They're like, oh shit. Oh, they're like, great. Fantastic. Happy to hear it. So, but anyway, Australian PM was praising the strong economy during the Ohio visit to Platt, and then Platt Industries building a factory there. Can put, I think, 5,000 people to work there. And the owner is from Australia. So let's see here. So President Trump highlighted the resurgence of U.S. manufacturing Sunday night during a stop in Ohio with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Visiting a Pratt Industries paper manufacturing plant in Wapakoneta, Ohio, Mr. Trump took credit for cutting business taxes and encouraging foreign investors such as Australian businessman Anthony Pratt to create more jobs in the United States. And Trump said, I promised to fight for Ohio jobs and Ohio workers, and that's exactly what we've done. The president told cheering factory workers, companies around the world, there's nowhere they'd rather be than right here in the United States. He said the company will ultimately create about 5,000 jobs. Nice. I mean, people say, oh, what's 5,000 jobs? It is that 5,000 families, okay, 5,000 sets of children, husbands and wives, who don't have to worry about making next month's mortgage payment or rent payment, okay? That's who that is. They don't have to worry about packing everything up into excuse me a sec. They don't have to worry about packing everything up into a U-Haul truck and driving to a strange city across the country looking for a job. Not being transferred to a job, but looking for a job. That's what that represents. 5,000 American families who have a little peace in mind. Not a lot, but a little bit of peace in mind so they don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. So that's what 5,000 jobs equals. Okay, 5,000 sets of family. So like say 20,000 people. And you know what? And that's not good enough for you. Tough shit. It's good enough for me. And it's definitely good enough for the president. And I'll tell you another group of people is good enough for those 5,000 families and all the people that tertiary industries like, grocery stores, drugstores, clothing stores, whatever, people who support people who work at these companies. So you get, a lot of multiplier effects there. So anyway, the conservative Mr. Morrison noting that of course he had to be in the town that I can't pronounce, noting that Wapakoneta is the hometown of the late astronaut Neil Armstrong, said unemployment in the U.S. has not been as low as it is since Neil Armstrong walked the moon in 1969. Actually, true statement. All right, and let's see. Walked on the moon in 1969. If you don't have a strong economy, there's so many other things you can't do, Mr. Morrison said. He said of himself and Mr. Trump, we believe in the way jobs transform lives. Right. So basically saying, look, we both believe jobs transform lives. And that's true. The worst job I ever had was when I was out of work looking for a job. That was worse than any job I ever worked in my entire life. Was being out of work and looking for a job was worse than any job I ever had in my entire life. And it's awful. And, I can imagine if you have, wife and kids, kids at home as well, and they're looking up to you to, for safety and security. Both, financial kids don't understand what financial security is, but they understand a roof over their head and food on the table and clothes on their back. And kids are pretty, they're pretty resilient, but still, having to go home and not be able to pay the bills and telling the kids they have to move and leave their friends and family behind. I mean, that's got to be a tough one to do. I've been on a couple of those moves, and you can see the anxiety in your parents' faces. You can. They try to hide it the best they can, but you can see it. You can see that they're really anxious and they're scared. They don't know what's next. Going to a strange city they haven't been to before. There's no family or friends down there for them to connect with when they get there. I've been on two of those moves. Not any fun. Okay, and they don't like seeing my folks having to go through something like that. Not good. As President Trump would say, not good. Not good. All right, and then of course, We covered this earlier. Trump touts Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he courts voters in Houston, and he in a speech that I didn't show because it was a long speech. He went into the economic numbers. I did not know this, but Indian American unemployment is down 33 1/3%, down 1/3 since he took office. That's a real good number. They had high employment rates to begin with, not unemployment, high employment rates to begin with, but still coming down a third is good. A lot of self-employed people among the Indian American community. President Trump rallied Sunday with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Houston, combating forces with a leader who has made similar appeals to nationalism as he tries to gather support from the Indian American voting bloc in Texas, an emerging political battleground. The crowd cheered, well, you heard this, as Trump pledged to help Texans suffering from a rampant flooding 2 years after Hurricane Harvey, and he praised on the 4 million Americans who claim Indian heritage. And you didn't see. I didn't show this part because again it was a long speech. But he went on to say, "You enrich our culture, you uphold our values, you uplift our communities, and you are truly proud to be American. And we are proud to have you as Americans. We thank you, we love you, and I want you to know my administration is fighting for you each and every day." The president told an audience of roughly 50,000 at it's NRG Stadium, home of the NFL Houston Texans. So anyway, the phone lines are open, and it's not just ladies' night. I did that as a joke, but anyway, it's like you can anybody can call in, and not just I didn't think about that before I put that up, that people would take that literally, like it was supposed to be a joke. But now I think people said, "Oh no, he must just want only women to call in." No, it's it was a joke. It was a joke. But in fact, hold on here. Let me see. Do 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 do. There you go. Call now. Lines open. It'll stop on that. There you go. So it'll stop on. I stopped it. I stopped it. I made it stop. There you go. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's take a look at the next story we got here. All right. Let's see. Here we go. This one. Space Force. Da-da-da. Space Force gets ready for launch. Yeah, I want to be part of the Space Force. I want to go up there. I want to fight them aliens. I'm going to fight them aliens. Oh, no. They heard me say that. They'll probably be like some guy taking me in a ship like in that movie from that chick from Alaska. Like he'll come here, put a big tractor beam through the house. So if you're watching YouTube and you see me going up in space, you say, Carl's talking about the Space Force fighting aliens. They came and got them. So anyway, take a look here. Space Force gets ready for launch. Actually, this, it's funny because I think I really haven't heard a lot of leftists arguing, oh, what's he doing the Space Force, thing about? Because, the Navy comes out and said, hey, those ships you've been seeing, those pictures, like those are real. Like we don't know what they are, but they're real. It's like, whoa! It's like maybe we need a Space Force, like now, like, shit, and it's probably a good reason to have good ties with like the Chinese and the Russians right now. Probably not a bad idea. It's like, hey, because the shit is a fan. The three countries that are going to be dealing with this the most are going to be the Chinese, the Russians, and us. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. So we better be getting along with the other two guys. They better be getting along with us because like this may have to get hot and heavy. These aliens come down. It could be like in that movie. What movie was that? I just saw it too. God, that was a good movie. I can't remember, but it was on Google Play, or did I watch it on Amazon? I don't know. I either watched it on Google or Amazon. But it was a good movie about the aliens, and these were not friendly aliens. These were not like E.T. These were like mean guys, and they like shot stuff at you and they blew your head up. But and it was like in Chicago, and it wasn't pretty, and they built this big like underground city for them. Yeah, yeah, it was. These were really nasty people. They subjugate us, and we all surrender, and we have to live by their rules, and it's really disgusting. And they just pretty much suck in, all the life out of the planet, until they let us live long, let us live to help them, take all the good stuff out, and then eventually the planet dies, and then we die. But in the meantime, we just beg for survival. But what was it? You know what? I'm gonna find that movie. Hold on a sec. now I'm curious. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. We'll go over here and find it. This will do it. Let's see. I'm gonna find this movie. Let's see. Aliens. Let's see. Movie's called Captive State. Captive State. Yeah, good movie. Let's see here. Let's see. Take a look at this. Captive State, and let's see. Writer stars John Goodman, Ashton Sanders, Jonathan Majors, and who else? But let's see. John Goodman, Ashton Sanders, Jonathan Majors, Vera Farmiga, Kevin Dunn, James Ransom, Alan Ruck, Madeline Kelly. Oh, no. Well, I don't know who that is. Machine Gun Kelly. Well, Kevin O'Connor, Ben Daniels. But anyway, really good movie called Captive State. But yeah, that's like the aliens. And again, these are not friendly aliens. These are like bad aliens, So definitely need the Space Force because if these guys come down, it's not going to be pretty. A good friend of mine was telling me that they do movies to kind of prepare you for the future. It's like, look out, here come the aliens. That kind of stuff. So you got to be careful. So I couldn't go live tonight. I got to be up in the morning early, and then I'm going to local. Oh, good. Great dirtbag. Going to local town Republican meeting in the evening tomorrow. Excellent. But yeah, so hopefully you can get some, get some good answers from them, and hopefully they can, point you in the right direction and be able to assist them for the, upcoming election. Because yeah, no, that's excellent. You're going to be meeting with them tomorrow. That's fantastic. So yeah, then hopefully you get some of your more friends involved and more friends. Yeah, Florida's a that's a purple state again. So we have to fight really hard to get it. And we got it last time, but by the hair on a chinny chin chin. So it wasn't a lot of distance between Trump and Clinton on the vote count. So they of course they were holding on. I just watched a replay of that NBC the other night. In fact, they were holding it really tight to the end, and they were thinking like, oh, he's gonna get these numbers and stuff. So it looked like he won that corridor there, the Tampa Bay suburb corridor. He got that. That came in really big for him. So, but yeah, you guys need to really be working out there really hard. I'm gonna be working really hard here in Nevada. We're blue right now, but doesn't mean we can't be red in 2020. I mean, why not? I mean, hey, Michigan went red, Wisconsin went red. Why can't we? We just gotta work hard. That's all. He wasn't supposed to take Michigan. He wasn't supposed to take Wisconsin. You can say what you want about Pennsylvania or Ohio, but those two states he wasn't supposed to take, and they've been blue for a long time, and he took them. And he almost took Minnesota. I mean, that was a close one. That was really close. All right, so let's cover the story on the Space Force, and this is from the Washington Times. Space Force. All right, here comes the Space Force. Those with institutional memory of a previous era may wonder, will the new Space Force revisit SDI, the Strategic Defense Initiative? For the uninitiated, the acronym stands for the Strategic Defense Initiative. It was proposed by Ronald Reagan in 1983 and included advanced space-based interceptor and sensor systems to counter incoming Soviet ballistic missiles, among other things. Should have been used to counter the space aliens. That's what it should have been used for. Meanwhile, there's some news about the Space Force. Beginnings of the potential sixth branch of the armed forces should be up and running in about 90 days, with an initial forward staff of about 200 people, according to Defense One, which reviewed defense documents on the startup. The team will include 150 people from the Air Force, 24 from the Army, 14 from the Navy and Marine Corps, and 9 from the Joint Staff. Their mission and who will drive it, however, is a work in progress. There's a lot of conversation going on about, let's see here, a lot of conversation going on about the mission, the vision, On what does it do, noted Lieutenant General David D.T. Thompson, Vice Commander of the Air Force Space Command. And a lot of what is being said is inaccurate, he told Space News this week. There's a role for the Space Force, a role for DoD, and a role for NASA. For the commercial market, the intelligence community, the Department of Commerce. The officer said, explaining that the Space Force will, over time, will have a large role to play, but to say is going to be the Space Force's job to take us in this direction is well beyond what we've ever been asked for. The news media often misbehaves, packaging opinion as news, exhibiting liberal bias, peddling outrage, or forgetting their calling to inform the public in a meaningful way. Yes, that we know, but wait. The job also calls for nonstop news mongering in a news cycle that is endless, random, and often unpredictable in its trajectory. The question, have the rigors of the job, this is another story, melancholy media. Okay, this is a little tripart story. We know all that. News tip, savage moment, no, okay. Yeah, I mainly wanted to see the Space Force story. That was my main thing. Yay, Space Force. Woo! But anyway, see what time is it? 8 o'clock. Well, I've been on for like an hour and a half. I didn't want to start early tonight, and I do appreciate everybody coming on. Yeah, I really didn't put this up ahead of time, and I didn't tell anybody I was coming on early. So I do appreciate everybody coming on tonight and jumping on this. That was really cool. So I want to thank everybody who's been watching, everybody who'll be watching later, and everybody who's been in the chat room. I want to thank Effie Loves America for the great phone call. Fantastic. And let's see, let me get to the right screen here. That's me singing. There we go. All right. So I want to thank everybody again, and I want to thank everybody who's been in the chat, everybody who's been viewing, everybody will be viewing later. And for Carl's opinion, this is Carl. I want everybody to have a great night. And I don't know who's coming on tonight. Is Michelle on? I didn't want to be jumping and bouncing on top of her. So doesn't she come on around right about now? So everybody check out Pro Life America if she's coming on now. I think she is. So that's another good reason to get off now. So let's not bounce on top of her show. She's a really good person and good people. Has some good stuff she does on her show. So anyway, check out, see if Pro Life America is coming on, and I will see you next time. So for Carl's opinion, this is Carl. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.